Tonight on Stand Up for the Week, Sean Walsh, Josh Widdicombe, Romesh, Ranganathan, Angela Barnes, Simon Evans. But now, please welcome your host, Paul Chowdhry.
Welcome to Stand Up for the Week. What's happening, white people? I'd like to wish everyone good luck this month, taking part in Movember. All of my friends are taking part. This is my friend this year. That's Rena. There's a lot of Asian girls out here taking part, I've seen. Looks like you've done a good job, love. Supposed to start yesterday, not last month. We're pretty hairy people, innit? I just shaved before I walked on. I mean, that's Ram. Ram says he spends 2 hours a day grooming. I'm surprised he's allowed anywhere near a school with a moustache like that. I don't know if you heard about twerking, right? Students in America have been made to sign a no twerking contract before going to the prom. It's a bit like what they've done in Liverpool, where kids have signed a no working contract. Have you seen that Miley Cyrus video? A really sexy one. Yeah, what's it called again? Hannah Montana. I mean, how are you going to ban twerking? If they really want to ruin their prom, they should just ban fingering. I remember my school disco. Someone had their ass in my face for hours. Mr. Pritchard. India has launched its first space program with a mission to Mars. It's being called the cheapest ever space program. It's a bit racist, isn't it? I feel sorry for the geezer at the front peddling. The Indian Space Agency says the rocket had been launched successfully. And that would have been a good conversation. Captain, how far are you from Mars?
I'm just around the corner, 5 minutes. I'm just 5 minutes, boss.
Everyone a good Halloween? It was Halloween this week, right? And people were wearing all kinds of costumes and going trick-or-treating. I was looking for a costume during Halloween. I went onto Amazon, and they sell gollywog outfits. I had to buy that shit just to take a picture of it. Forget a fancy dress party, more British National Party. I mean, what kind of people buy this? And it gives you recommendations for the other things they bought. Customers who bought this also bought a swastika armband. Customers who bought this also bought a UKIP Nigel Farage baseball cap. Customers who bought this also bought a Jim Davidson DVD. Customers who bought this also bought a John Terry autobiography. I mean, like, last week, Michael Jackson's doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray, has been released from prison after serving 2 years. Now he's out, why can't we get him a job looking after Justin Bieber? Or One Direction? All right, Conrad Murray might have killed a pop star, right? But just think about how many kids he saved. He did 2 years in prison, and he got a Lifetime Achievement Award from Childline. This week, Conrad Murray went out for Halloween. He went trick-or-treating, and he went dressed as Bubbles, Michael Jackson's chimp. The real Bubbles we ain't seen in years. You know, real Bubbles, Michael Jackson gave away Bubbles before he got too old. Because even Michael Jackson's chimps had to be underage. Bubbles wasn't affected by the whole lifestyle of Michael Jackson. He wasn't affected by all the fame and success. In fact, I found a very rare picture of Bubbles, how he's living today. It was very difficult for actually finding a picture of a white monkey. I don't know if anyone's ever Googled white monkey before. You know what white monkey means? It's actually a slang term. It basically means take a dump, jizz on it, and throw it at someone. That's a white monkey. Take a dump, choke one out, and chuck it at someone. Give him a white monkey, Dave. Or in my part of North London, that's called a first date. Are you ready for the show tonight? Yeah! With all this week's entertainment news, please welcome to the stage, Sean Walsh.
Thank you. Yeah, how's it going? Good. So I'm here to talk about the entertainment news this week. You may have heard on X Factor, the boy band Kingsland Road were voted off. And Gary Barlow, he was there, he tried to soften the blow. He said to them, you've got a great work ethic. No one gives a shit about work ethic, do they? You don't get teenage girls at home with a poster on their wall of an accountant working through lunch. There's a reason there's not a programme on Saturday night called Work Ethic. Business strategy consultant Peter Hams.
I've got some pens if anyone wants to borrow one.
Head of HR, Sue Charlton.
I'll stay behind and do it.
Senior management team, Neil Fleet.
Don't worry, I'll do it over the weekend.
Rumours also circulated on Twitter that Nicole, you know the one, Nicole, she was drunk on Saturday's X Factor. There were many pictures of her in the tabloids. You might have seen the picture of her in the tabloid. There was a few of them. We've all seen this picture of ourselves. You know the one. You wake up in the morning, you check your emails, it says you've been tagged on a photo on Facebook. Oh, bollocks, it's that one, isn't it? She did deny being drunk. She didn't even seem drunk to me, did she? At most, tipsy. Not drunk, not proper shit-faced. I think she should get shit-faced. It'd make the programme bearable to watch. You know, just get absolutely proper British shit-faced. Cardiff on a Saturday night shit-faced. I'd watch that. How much better would it be? X Factor, the cool Scherzinger comes out. Ah! Does one of those falls that only women could do. You know the ones? It takes them 9 minutes to hit the floor. You know? She's puking everywhere. Sharon Osbourne's having to hold her hair back. It's all right, darling. Oh, God, what have I done? He's an arsehole! He's an arsehole! Louise running round. Has anyone seen her phone? Has anyone seen her phone? Have you seen her phone? I can't find her phone. Has anyone seen her phone? She drinks through the ads, it comes back to the results. She's even more battered. She's doing that thing that women do where they think no one can see them have that wee behind the car. She's doing it at the side of the stage, the band are on, she's there. On her phone, calling the ex. Lewis, come and pick me up in your Formula One. I Nicole, how about a photo? This week, according to the papers, Justin Bieber was snapped coming out of a brothel in Brazil. He denied this. Here he is. He's hidden under a blanket, so I can't really tell, but if it is true, apparently he thought it was a private members club. According to the press, this brothel was listed in the top 4 brothels in the world. How is that list compiled? Is it TripAdvisor? Users also recommended Munich sex dungeons. Who the hell is leaving a brothel and thinking, I'm going to leave a comment, yeah. Getting home to their laptop, the pimps made us feel very welcome. We were expecting a top-notch experience, but you can only tolerate so many fatty farts. Scrolling down to read the others. Do not go here. She had a cock. Scroll down. Loved it. She even had a cock. Scroll down. Thank you, Groupon. Scroll down. My penis looks like it's been through a shredder. Best weekend of my life. Scroll down. Overpriced, cramped, and smelt weird. Worst vagina I've ever seen. Scroll down. I've had better, but cannot criticise their great work ethic. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been the entertainment news this week. Thank you very much. See you later. Yeah.
Sean Walsh. Are you ready for your next act? With this week's headline news, please welcome Josh Widdicombe.
Hello. We having a good night? Yeah. So this is the headline news, and the big story this week is the high-speed rail line that David Cameron has said this week that they must cut cost on it. It's called HS2. HS2 is the sequel. HS2, this time it's personal. Now, if you don't know what HS2 is going to do, it's very exciting. What it's going to do is it's going to cut travel time to Birmingham by 20 minutes. Yes! Yes, for a cost of £42.6 billion. Now, I'm not sure I want 20 minutes extra in Birmingham for free. I mean, if you want 20 minutes extra in Birmingham, here's a suggestion. Get up 20 minutes earlier and save yourself £42.6 billion. Right, this railway is not going to be ready until 2026. I mean, I don't know anyone that is planning a meeting in Birmingham with that much advance. You all right, Steve? Do you want to meet in Birmingham on the 4th of April, 2026 at 1 p.m? Better than that, Brian. I'll meet you there at 12:40. They said the upgrading, right? If they don't build the line, the upgrading of the old line is going to cause chaos, including the route between Huntingdon and Peterborough going up to an hour at weekends. Give a shit. The only person that travels on that route is the driver. I mean, he doesn't even need a train. He just needs one of those things. That's all he needs. I mean, if we're going to spend money on the train, spend it on things we need, like toilets that you can flush at a station. Yeah, or an on-train magazine that isn't the shittest thing you have ever read in your life. Oh, the top 10 restaurants in Crewe. Or, here's an idea, a door that has a handle on the inside as well as the outside. Chris, I don't know if anyone's told the train companies that's not how doors work. The only other people that open doors like that are car thieves. But they say, right, they haven't started it. It has already gone £10 billion over budget. How is this? I mean, that is unacceptable. That's not just someone who's failed to carry the one. I mean, mean, that is not acceptable. If your builder came back from B&Q and went, well, I've got the supplies, bit of an issue. I've gone £10 billion over budget. Do you want me to continue? Well, are you going to cut 20 seconds off my journey from the kitchen to the living room? By 2026? Carry on. To keep the cost down, what they've done, they've got in Sir David Higgins, right, is the man who kept the cost down on the Olympics. But my understanding of how they save money in the Olympics is they sold the stadium to West Ham United. Now, you can't do that with HS2 when it goes over budget. West Ham aren't going to buy that and go, God, I can't wait for the fixture list to come out. Birmingham away. Think I'll have a lie-in for 20 minutes that day? It's interesting, the route is going to go... There's people obviously pissed off that it's going to go near the house. My favourite is genuinely going through the garden, the route of the train, of David Cameron's cousin, Tilly May. Now, that is a revenge hit, isn't it? That is a man who's gone, socks for Christmas again. Yeah, what have I got you? A fucking train. Through your patio, love. I like the idea that the whole route is just him settling scores. This is an artist's impression of Nick Clegg's garden in 2026. They say, right, that if they don't build HS2, then the future of the North is at risk. I mean, that is a pretty extreme measure, isn't it? You can't discontinue the North. I mean, I don't care if it hasn't got a train track. You can't shut it down. It's not Woolworths. It's not as classy as Woolworths for a start. I mean, for 40 years' time, your grandchildren aren't going to go, what was it like when you were young? Well, we, son, had a thing called the North. What was it like? Exactly like this. Only everyone wore flat caps and wouldn't shut the fuck up about the Stone Roses. That has been the headlines. You've been absolutely lovely. My name's Joshua. Thank you very much. Cheers. Good night.
Still to come, Romesh, Ranganathan, Angela Barnes, Simon Evans.
Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Here, with all the news from Middle England, please welcome Simon Evans.
Thank you. Good evening. How the devil are you? Well? Very nice to be here with the news from Middle England. If that doesn't mean much to you, think of it as the polar opposite of gangster shit. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about this evening, actually, is something which has crossed my radar in the last week or two. Radar is like gaydar, but for ships. I'm using it metaphorically. A general debate in Middle England, you're going to have to take my word for this. I realise there's a look around the room, but there is a degree of consternation about the degree to which the essentially American tradition of Halloween has overwhelmed the ancient British tradition of Guy Fawkes, bonfire, fireworks, and so on. I personally, to be honest with you, I do tend to support fireworks night. I would rather my children were out on the streets blowing shit up rather than going door to door begging for sweets like dogs. My issue with Halloween, really, is that it's not scary enough. These modern mass-produced costumes don't really set the pulse racing, do they? Back in the day, people used to show a little bit of imagination. This kind of look. You can't get that down at Asda. I'm not saying there aren't terrifying things to be seen at Asda. There are, usually bending over a chest freezer, trying to extract 3-for-2 pizzas, dressed in a pair of leggings that have seen one too many washes. But you can't actually purchase those. Pointedly not clapping there, madam. You have to put the work in. You can't just go shopping for these things in the local supermarket. My children have embraced this idea. They now use a good deal of creativity and invention when they trick or treat. They have custom-made, bespoke approaches to each house. For instance, old Mr. Jenkins at number 14, whose wife died recently. My daughter dressed up in an extraordinarily accurate simulacrum of his wife. in miniature, appeared on his doorstep. I'm back! Spooky, oh yes. Then there's Mr. Carter at number 42, the local paedophile. He's not proven, but he was a radio DJ in the 70s. There are some cases where I'm willing to generalise. My children dressed up in sexy clothes for him, turn around and take a selfie before he knows what's going on. Then, of course, there are a couple of ex-servicemen on my road. To be honest, you don't really have to try too hard with ex-servicemen at this time of year, do you? Rockets, shelling, flares, tracer fire exposing their positions. The 2 weeks leading up to Remembrance Sunday nowadays in this country are not merely an opportunity for servicemen to remember their active time in the army so much as to relive it. It is extraordinary that we put them through that, but then we give them 2 minutes of peace and quiet on a Sunday morning. Bizarre, isn't it? Still, we all wear our poppies, you know, that's the main thing. I think we have to wear a poppy in order to demonstrate our allegiance and our solidarity. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but the British Legion do actually they hope to raise about £35 million this year through the sale of poppies. Halloween, on the other hand, cost the British public about 300 million. We spend nearly 10 times as much on Halloween as we do on Remembrance Sunday, which is an interesting exposure of our priorities, isn't it? I think the obvious solution, if the British Legion want to raise a bit more money, is to introduce lollipoppies. Instead of a paper version, which an adult buys and pins to his jacket, no, have sweets which the children have to buy every day for a week. In fact, get lollipop ladies to distribute lollipoppies. It's perfect, and if the child refuses to buy one, well, they can take their chances with the traffic, frankly. No worse than No Man's Land was 100 years ago. Teach them some valuable lessons. I am absolutely sure that lollipop ladies would happily embrace the extra authority that this would bestow upon them. They're jumped-up little Hitlers themselves, if you ask me, who seem to enjoy a good deal more sentimental appreciation from the British public than they genuinely warrant. There is one at the end of my road. There is a school near where I live. It's not where my children go to school. I wouldn't have them going to a local school, but there is a school near the end of mine. There is a lollipop lady there who has lost all sight of the priority. Surely her job is to get at least a dozen kids together into a decent gaggle before she leads them across like some low-rent Moses. No. One child now seems to warrant her interference. Stop! A child wishes to cross the road. Slam the brakes on, coffee goes everywhere. You probably end up sending a text you were only halfway through writing. Head flask wedged under the clutch pedal, mayhem in the car. Just so this infant can dawdle across. You've got a great pole with a bat on the end. Twat the little fucker across the road if he's in such a hurry. I will leave you with this serious note. Do please buy a poppy, just a regular one. I am sick to death of celebrities. Simon Cowell, I believe, started this last year with these fancy sort of gold and ruby encrusted jewellery versions of a poppy, demonstrating that he cares so much more deeply and in such a more celebrity Fuck off, Cowell. Paper poppies. A simple paper and plastic poppy was good enough for my grandfather, it's good enough for you. I have one for which I paid the suggested donation of £1 in 2009, and it served me very well indeed. Looked after properly, they will last every bit as long as a jewellery version. Seriously, folks, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much for your time. Take care, all the best. Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Simon Evans. Now, here to tell us all the first world problems, would you please welcome to the stage Angela Barnes.
Talk to you about the first world news. Now, if you don't know what first world news is, it's news for people who are probably more worried about fixing up their house in a recession than losing their house in a tsunami. So my first story is a prime example of some first world news. Right, that this week we found out that there's going to be a global shortage, ladies and gentlemen, of almonds. That's not it. And goat's cheese. I'll wait for it. And olives. I know, it's worse than the Blitz, this, isn't it? It's like Waitrose are going to have to start issuing ration books. Before we know it, we're going to be queuing for powdered hummus. Fuck's sake. And no almonds. Well, I grew up in Maidstone in the 80s. I didn't know what an almond was until I was 24. Because online, people have been complaining because stocks have run out of Green and Black's organic almond bars. Tell me when we've run out of Kit Kats, then I'll give a fuck. Now, the olive shortage I can live with, right? I am not worried about the olive shortage if it means that we can all just stop pretending now that we like olives. Right? I'm right, aren't I? Nobody does. Nobody. Some of you might say you like olives. You are lying to yourselves. That's what you're doing. Right. A spokesman said that olives have a pleasant, sour taste. A pleasant, sour taste. That's an oxymoron, isn't it? It's like Fun Run. Or Sky News. Olives, they're just one of those things that we have to learn to love because we're grown-ups, right? It's like olives, it's like alcohol or stepchildren. Right? Now, as if that isn't bad enough, right? As if that isn't bad enough, this week I read this, right? That apparently, in 2 years' time, there will be a global shortage of wine. Global shortage of wine. And I think I'd be less distressed, right, if I knew that a meteor was going to hit in 2 years. At least then I could drink wine to forget about it. Do you know what I mean? And I can't understand how we've got into this situation. I mean, Keith Floyd's been dead for 4 years, right? I mean, there are certain situations, aren't there, where wine is just irreplaceable. Nothing else will do. You can't take Holy Communion with Vimto. Imagine being in a posh restaurant, right, and the wine waiter comes up to you. I see, madam, you've ordered the steak tartare. May I recommend the Blue Wicked? Right, it's not the same, is it? It's not the... In 2010, right, Spain had an excess of 3.4 billion litres of wine. 3 years later, nothing. Where the fuck has that gone? Is that where the loose women go for their Christmas parties? Is that it? I think I've got a solution to this. I think I have a solution to the wine shortage problem, right? We need to do 3 things. First, we need to stop wine tasters spitting it out. Right? That is wasteful. Unless they're going to spit it directly into my mouth. Number 2, we've got to stop people cooking with it. Right? It is a waste. Alcohol evaporates when you cook with it, right? What's wrong with a slur? It's like watering your plants with Volvic. It's a waste, right? And finally, we have to stop Lidl selling cheap wine to poor people. Right? They don't need it, they've got cider. Next on the first world news is... something that we're a little bit obsessed with in this country. We're a little bit obsessed with all the new beauty fads that come out. Has anyone here had a fish pedicure? Yes! Give me a cheer if you put pictures of it on Facebook. Yes! Right, I mean, I can't log on to Facebook without seeing somebody's manky feet being nibbled by fish. Right? Next time somebody does it, I swear to God, I'm going to their Facebook wall and I'm going to post a picture of me having a bikini wax. Let's see how they bloody well like it. But just when you thought that things couldn't get any more mental, right, now people are voluntarily having something called eel exfoliation, right? They are voluntarily immersing themselves in baths of these fellas. Yeah. That is not a beauty treatment, that is a bush tucker trial. Right, and they're dangerous as well, right? It's dangerous. Gentlemen in the room, you might want to get a tissue ready for this bit. I mean, because it's going to make your eyes water, it's not arousing, right? Or it might be, I don't know, whatever floats your boat, but either way, be prepared, right? Because there's a man in China, Zhang Nen, he had this eel exfoliation treatment done, right? And this is what he said. He said, I climbed into the bath and I could feel the eels nibbling my body. But then suddenly I felt a severe pain and realised a small eel had gone into the end of my penis. I don't know about you, my first thought was, how flaky was your cock? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Angela Barnes. That's been your first one news. Thank you very much. Good night.
Still to come, Romesh Ranganathan.
Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Are you having a good time? Now, with all the news from the world of sports, please welcome to the stage, Romesh Ranganathan.
Thank you. I'm doing sports news. I want to talk about the first person I want to talk about is Hugo Lloris, the Tottenham goalkeeper. Got a knee to the head, got knocked unconscious. Here's a picture. Oh, shit, bruv. You just got murked. Got a knee straight through the head, yeah? Brad Friedel, the substitute Tottenham keeper, was watching it. Here's what I think his reaction would have been. Have it, mate. He's thinking, come on. I'm going to finally get on. Yes, it's finally going to happen after all this time. The manager, Andre Villas-Boas, he said to him, are you OK to carry on? And he said, yeah, I'm absolutely fine, Mum. The medical staff, the manager, the referee, they all thought he should go off, but then he said he wanted to carry on. If you're in a situation where you've got to decide where somebody's got to carry on, the last person you ask in that scenario is the person that is technically dead. If you were a co-pilot on a plane, right, and the lead pilot fell unconscious, and instead of letting you take over, they just went, well, should we see if this guy wakes up from the coma? Right, you'd be a bit pissed off, wouldn't you? If I got knocked unconscious before coming on here, they wouldn't make me carry on. They'd just give my glasses to Chowdhry. Sven-Göran Eriksson has written an autobiography. Can I be the first person to say, who gives a shit? Right, I've got no interest in what this guy's got to say about football, but the only thing that is quite interesting is who he's been banging. Right, that's the interesting bit. He's been playing it fast and loose with the dickie. They've wheeled out Ulrika Johnson to bask in the deflected limelight. She's on the phone waiting for the call. You can imagine just going, I'm back! It was reported, apparently, that Sven, in order to show off to Ulrika, said that he could beat up Fergie. Fergie's a 70-year-old man, right? If it's true, basically, Sven is showing off about beating up a pensioner so he can get laid. Now, I've done a lot of things to impress a woman. I've bought her dinner, I've bought her flowers. What I've never done is slapped her granny. Ulrika said that having sex with Sven was like reading an IKEA instruction manual. Now, she's just picked that because he's Swedish, right? Talking about reverting to stereotypes. Thank goodness she didn't end up in a relationship with Krishnan Gurumurthy. I really enjoyed the way he dipped his poppadom in my chutney. Ulrika said, right, she would have got more satisfaction from putting up a bookcase than having sex with Sven. Now, I thought that was really weird until I saw the bookcase. Didn't even have to mock that up, that's just from my wife's closet. Manchester City players, right, have been given language packs, because so many of them are foreign. I don't know if you've seen this. They've been given language packs to help them understand English. Part of the advice in these language packs was for them to watch children's television programmes, CBeebies. What a damning indictment of the English-speaking players at Manchester City, that instead of having a conversation with them to learn the language, it's better to watch In the Night Garden. Apparently, for those that find it too challenging, they've just been told to watch Towie. Apparently, Jolyon Lescott kicked off when Sergio Aguero was using English that he'd just learnt from Rastamouse. Hey, man, I'm going to be taking a free kick, you bumper ass. In the Night Garden, right, it's got characters in it like Macca Packa and Ninky Nonk. Now, in these racially charged times, I don't think we should be throwing around terms like that. I reckon that's why Suarez got into trouble. Offside, Ninky Nonk. You fucking what, mate? Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your sports news. I've been Romesh Ranganathan. Thank you very much. Good night.
Romesh Ranganathan. That's all we got time for. You've been a great crowd.
Who she is. This is generic old lady with an iPad. I thought she looked quite sweet. I've called her Dorothy. I thought she looked quite sweet. Then I thought, I don't know what she's looking at. And I don't know what her other hand's doing.